not been the one for me. Welcome back to the channel. This is an emergency video I've done because Liz Truss has today resigned. Yeah, the third female Prime Minister. She's resigned. What do you think, Boris? I think my friend Boris should be the Prime Minister again. Now Liz Truss has gone. Could Boris Johnson potentially be back as Prime Minister? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the channel. So Liz Truss has resigned. She is now officially the shortest, I say the shortest Prime Minister. How small are you, Liz Truss? Because you're so dinky, you can't be No. She has the shortest tenure as Prime Minister in UK history. Not just in modern UK history, in UK history, ever since there was a Prime Minister. That's some legacy to leave behind, isn't it? You type in Liz Truss on Google in 50 years' time and you get shortest Prime Minister ever. You're on your deathbed. Ugh, at least I've left behind a legacy. A legacy of being the worst Prime Minister ever? Liz Truss makes Theresa May look good, and that's saying something. So Liz Truss is the shortest serving Prime Minister ever. She has even beaten a guy from 1827 called George Canning. He lasted from the 12th of April 1827 and he died. In fairness to him, he could have gone on longer, but he died. And Liz Truss even beat him. And you've had in the past few days Suella Braverman. She resigned, yeah, with her passive-aggressive resignation, which I won't put on the video just to save a bit of time. There'll be a leadership contest within a week. We'll have a new Prime Minister by next Friday. I mean, the Conservatives have had, by the time they elect their new leader, they would have had 3 Prime Ministers within a year. Now, if that's not telling you, maybe we're not employing the right people for this job, I don't know what else does. And Liz Truss says that the reason she's resigned is because she cannot deliver the mandate that she was elected on. You was elected by a small group of people. You only got about, I think, 61% of the vote. You didn't have much of a mandate to begin with. How did the market react when Liz Truss resigned? The pound went up. Even the pound's sitting there and going, oh, thank God she's gone. Lib Dem leader Ed Davey, Labour leader Keir Starmer, going, we need a general election now. If the Conservatives have got any brains about them whatsoever, they will not call a general election because they know that they will be absolutely trounced. Yeah, they'll be trounced. They'll be. I believe I read a poll the other day that they are 4th in line. Yeah, they're 4th in the polls. Yeah, so that there wouldn't be even the opposition anymore. Yeah, it'd be like the Lib Dems or the SNP in opposition. I've got what she said here on a resignation speech, and I'm going to read it out for you just a little bit. I came into office at a time of great economic and international instability. You went out of office with economic decline and instability. Yeah. Families and businesses were worried about how to pay their bills. They're still worried about how to pay their bills because in April, you've only done the energy price guarantee, whatever you've done, until April because you was forced to do it because it was an uncosted plan in the first place. Yeah. Putin's illegal war in Ukraine threatens the security of our whole continent, and our country has been held back for too long by low economic growth. The Tories have been in power for 12 years. You were in charge of the economy. I was elected by the Conservative Party with a mandate to change this. Not really. We delivered on energy bills and cutting national insurance. You've actually done none of those things. You've helped the energy plan go into effect a little bit, but then you cut it down from 2 years until next April. I recognise, though, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King, an integrable bloke, to notify him that I'm resigning as leader of the Conservative Party. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plans. What fiscal plans? It's a different fiscal plan every week. 1 week it's, you're going to have an energy price plan that will help you pay bills for 2 years. Yay! Jeremy Hunt says I can't. Jeremy Hunt says I have to save money. I will remain a Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Why not do a Boris Johnson and wait it out until next year? Just stay there. Stay there for a bit longer. You'll be fine. I mean, she was elected on the 5th of September. She released a mini budget which went tits up, which crashed the markets, crashed the economy. And ever since then, it's just been U-turn, resign. The Conservatives have got like a death cult, yeah? They're like a bunch of sharks, like, oh, oh, blood. They got rid of Boris. You can say what you want about Boris Johnson, but he was electable. He was popular, despite the fact that he would literally have an affair with your wife, and you would thank him afterwards. Yeah, but he was popular. Yeah, and they got rid of him. They shouldn't have got rid, in my opinion, of Boris Johnson. Yes, he did some things. Partygate. He hired Chris Pincher, despite knowing that he did a few actions that were slightly on the whole sexual misconduct border. If the public didn't like him, they could have got rid of him at the next general election. Yeah, the general election is the public's legitimate way of forcing out their leader. The Conservatives, if they don't like someone, they just get rid of them, and then they're like, oh, now our chances for re-election are looking shit. It's your fault. It's your fault. The party's doing terrible in the polls. They've elected a terrible leader, and now the best bit is that there is a bring back Boris hashtag, and I mean, it's gaining traction. Nadine Dorries, yeah, his sister, whatever her name is, Rebecca Johnson, is it? Yeah, they're all rallying to make sure Boris gets a nomination. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I think there's a good chance that he might put himself up for nomination. Yeah, everyone wants Boris. Yeah, here's just a few people supporting him. James Duttridge, the current Minister of State for International Trade and a former parliamentary private secretary of Johnson's, was more direct about his support for Boris Johnson coming back as Prime Minister. He puts, I hope you enjoyed your holiday, boss, he tweets. Time to come back. Few issues at the office that need addressing. He also included a new hashtag. That's doing the round. He brought it back. Bring back Boris. Nadine Dorries says, there was only one person who has been elected by the British public with a manifesto and a mandate until January 25. The well-known Johnson loyalist also tweeted to say MPs must demand the return of Boris Johnson. If not, it has to be a leadership election or a general election. People are not happy about the prospect of Boris Johnson coming back. Liberal Democrats Daisy Cooper says, the fact that Conservative MPs are even considering putting Boris Johnson back in number 10 shows how out of touch they are. Boris Johnson was forced to resign in a disgrace after countless lies, scandals and failures. He shattered public trust in the government and plunged the UK into a political crisis. He must never be allowed near Downing Street again. I don't think the Conservatives are thinking about his Partygate scandal at the moment. Oh God, how do we get re-elected? Jeremy Hunt has ruled himself out of the leadership contest. I think he should. He lost the last two. He lost against Boris Johnson in 2019, and he didn't even get through the first round in this year's leadership contest. And Keir Starmer had something to say about the potential Boris Johnson return, the De Gaullean return, as it were, although in a bit of a shorter time span. The leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, adds that it would add insult to injury for the public, and asked when he would mind facing Boris Johnson again, he says, no, I share the view that he was unfit for office. I just think they want to win the next election, because it isn't looking good. And we always know Boris is a vote winner, no matter how you look at it. Just a few thoughts from me about Liz Truss going and what I think is going to happen in the future. I think it's good that Liz Truss has gone. I mean, to be honest with you, I think that the Conservatives have turned into so much of a death call that it doesn't matter who's there. Yeah, I mean, they purposely got rid of the most popular leader they've ever had since Thatcher. Yeah, for the past 40 years, that Johnson was the most popular leader, despite all of his flaws. That's the worst thing. He's like a Trumpian candidate. Yeah, he's a populist candidate, and I think maybe Rishi might get in, but I also think I'm torn between, does Boris like the fact that he's earning a lot more money, and Carrie's like, no, we don't go there. You'll be back in a poorly paid job. Yeah, we can't afford you to take on a poorly paid job again. Prime Minister's poverty pay compared to the pay after being a Prime Minister. Or he'll be like, I can't let Rishi into number 10 after what he did to me. Yeah. Or like I said, he wants to have some kind of De Gaullean comeback where he has this absence from office for a limited period of time, may I add, but he comes back triumphant. Yeah, with a new mandate. There's nothing that can fell him now. Yeah, he's been rejected and he's come back. Yeah, it's kind of when you leave a job and you come back and you're kind of inclined to stay in that job now, aren't you? But it's similar like that to Boris Johnson. They've got rid of him, and now if he wins again, they can't really say much about getting rid of him again because they've already tried it. And I think he won't come back because he'll be like, hey, you know what? It's a terrible climate to be Prime Minister in, isn't it, at the moment? Yeah, it's a terrible climate. It's just backstabbing, malicious. Even if he does get to be Prime Minister again, what kind of stuff will they pull again to get rid of him? But then I think maybe he will come in and he'll serve to the next general election, and we'll see from there. I'm torn. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and let's see what happens. But all in all, Liz Truss is the shortest serving Prime Minister, apart from George Cannon, who served for 119 days and died in the same year in 1827. She's the shortest serving Prime Minister in UK history. And to me, that is a shameful legacy to leave behind. And it's certainly not one I'd be proud of. I don't think we're going to get a fourth for a very long time. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. Until the next time.